Okay, hopefully this works. It's all different.
It says we're live.
Yeah, Facebook just fucking... Well, I mean, hopefully it goes to the Outrage Factory's page because Facebook's just like, oh, we changed this now.
Classic
There
Zuckerberg. Always
Hello,
fucking
Internet.
around. Hi, Internet.
How are
Hi,
you,
Internet.
Today
Hi,
with us, we... What? Were you answering on behalf of the Internet, Derek?
Just go ahead.
Derek, how are those meatballs? Everybody's been waiting.
Everyone's
So
been, maybe I'll do
us.
in about 30 minutes. I'm gonna have to take a quick. Maybe I'll do a live. We should just turn this into a cooking show if we're gonna record Sundays.
I'm not gonna cook though because I hate cooking. Does your oven have as beautiful of a chime as your dishwasher from last week?
Inexplicably my dishwasher's running right now too. Every appliance in my apartment sings to me when it's done doing what it's supposed to do, and it plays like this it's actually obnoxious as fuck. I would not recommend you get the singing appliances.
Where are we gonna get to hear it?
You undoubtedly will. Yeah.
In 30 minutes when the meatballs are done.
Yeah.
It'll be like once we forget that it's coming, then we'll hear it.
Yeah. Just to fuck us up. We are joined today by Jeremy Baker. Jeremy, longtime friend of the pod. Jeremy, welcome back.
Hello,
Second appearance.
Second appearance.
Mhm.
I haven't set a record yet, but it's my goal.
You're getting there.
Never learned his lesson last time.
No.
Jeremy, for the newbies to the pod, do you want to tell us about yourself?
Oh,
who
should
you
I
are?
hype my podcast?
Hype.
Oh, you have a
anything want.
podcast?
This is
Which
your
is
hype
on
time.
Which is on YouTube.
Nice.
Tell us about it.
We started like a month or so ago, but we went live 2 weeks ago. It's called the WFT podcast, Waiting for Trivia show.
Nice.
And
Waiting.
it's me and a comedian named Justin Nickel and this dude named Mark, this French Canadian alien loving conspiracy theorist.
Oh,
And
you're talking Dale's language right now.
Oh
you
yeah,
are.
so, yeah. We bang hard in the paint if we're talking aliens, or stuff like that.
Is that what it? So is this a conspiracy theory podcast, or what's your angle?
Entirely. We just thought conspiracy theories are fun to dunk on. Mark definitely. I would say Mark brings the conspiracy theories to me and Justin. And then usually I'm a little more well-read and Justin's just a comic. And we just tell Mark that what he's telling us is dumb. And we just riff jokes off of it. Yeah, he's like, rich people in Hollywood are drinking adrenochrome. And we're like, let's talk about
this sounds
that.
amazing.
Right.
I linked it in the chat in the comment feed of this podcast if you're listening right now. On
Nice. Yeah,
Facebook.
so it's still pretty new, but we're just a chance to kind of yell about stuff and go a little bit deeper into some topics that I'll talk about on the radio, but I'll just bang on about it for like a minute, and then on the podcast another 20 minutes on aliens.
You can go deep.
So would you say you've been red pilled yet or not quite?
I don't even really know what that means. What's the good one?
Red pill's like when you start believing in conspiracy theories. And
Oh
stuff.
yeah, no, I prefer the blue pill because
Yeah.
like elections better. Yeah.
I will also stick to the blue pill. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, it's only a matter of time.
I'm usually like,
guys.
I'll take both pills.
Let God sort it
I don't
out.
even care what's in it.
You can't avoid the
No,
truth.
I feel
forever.
crazy.
Hey, speaking of not caring what's in it, I asked this question when we first popped in. Vaccines.
Yeah.
We got the bad boy vaccine.
Am I
Both
for
day-
them or against them?
Both.
Vote in the comments section.
Dale and I both were vaccinated with the clot causing vaccine last week.
The tough guy vaccine.
Still waiting for our clots
Yeah.
to materialize.
I did not get my prescribed free clots that were supposed to come with my Zeneca vaccine. I have let them know that I want my free shit,
Yeah, you'll
but it
get
didn't
it.
come.
You'll get them. Give it time. Here's my thing.
Yeah.
I got vaccinated because when I went to make my appointment, I was like, okay, everyone's going to go to like London Drugs and Shoppers Drug Marts and like all the chains.
Right.
So I found the shadiest pharmacy that
No, you did?
had like, okay, close to, I guess Dale found a shadier one. But like 2-star Google reviews and just hidden in a business park somewhere, and just like looked like a dimly lit room with like some shit on the shelves, but I don't actually think they sold anything there.
Yeah,
just
just
went
like
to a
Ecuadorian
bodega.
Claritin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Went to a bodega.
So I went, yeah, it's a health
The
bodega.
pharmacy that mostly sells smokes.
Yeah, that kind. They haven't renounced smoking yet. But went and got my shot, and I had, I napped a little bit more, but like had zero health effects. So now I've convinced myself that I didn't get a real shot, and that the pharmacy just like gave me a placebo so that they could turn around and sell the real vaccine on the black market. Which is entirely possible.
You're getting the mercury, but you're not getting.
We're just giving you the formaldehyde.
But we're not going to give you a little bit.
That's why you didn't get any clots. So I told Derek that he didn't go to the sketchiest pharmacy because I went all the way to Wally, which. No offense to anybody who's listening to this in Wally, but your neighborhood is very creepy and it's world known. Because when people say like Surrey's all bad, what they're actually referring to is Wally, which is.
It's not even all of Wally. It's like the second you get off the main strip onto any road, then it's like, it's like you could be on the main strip in Surrey and be like, oh, this isn't so bad. Why is everyone freaking out? And then you go like one block off and you're just like, oh,
yeah, it all makes sense now. And as I was driving back, I was like, I felt kind of bad because I'm like, I'm definitely going to mention that I was in Wally. I was like, if I just fucking roast Wally, I'll feel bad. But I came up with the best system on how to find out if you trust a neighborhood or not. As you're driving through, say to yourself, would I get a tattoo here? And I would not get a tattoo in Wally. So I'm going to put it that way.
And that's just surface. That's surface needles. You got an interior
so you
needle.
Wouldn't get a tattoo in Wally, but you're like, but I'll take the vaccine.
Well, when I agreed to do it, because unlike Derek, I waited one day further than Derek. So all the sketchy independent pharmacies were out. So I went on the PharmaSave list and I started at the top and then I made an appointment. And then the next day they told me it was canceled. And then I flipped out and I started from the bottom and went up, and then I got one. It's like, sorry, that's not bad. And then I was like, hey, can I have a vaccine? And they're like, yeah, what's your phone number? And then I gave them my phone number and they're like, all right, see you tomorrow. And then I hung up and I was like, I feel like there should have been more information exchanged, but I'll just show up. And then I Googled the address and I was like, oh, because I thought it was like the nice part of King George, but it was like dead in Wally. And I was like, well,
good enough.
It's already a dirty vaccine. I guess I got it just a bit dirtier.
Yeah, he was like, fair enough.
Yeah. And
I went really old school. I went and I grabbed the scab of someone that had COVID. I picked that off. I grinded it up. Then I used my buck knife and I cut my arm like right there. And and then I take the powdered scab and I squished it in there. Old school, 1700s George Washington style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked. You're probably going to be more immune than any of us.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or I am dying now slowly. I'll have my COVID vaccine. I'll be protected from COVID, but I will die of trench foot.
Sure. Yeah.
One of the reasons I wanted the Zeneca was because it was the most because everybody's like, oh, why'd you get the blood clot one? Everybody, like the two people who talked to me, and I was like, well, it's because my original plan was to just have the old school chickenpox party where you find someone with COVID and then you get it and then you get over it naturally. And apparently that's against the law and I'll go to jail if I do that. So there's not doing that.
Fascist.
So yeah, so I decided to get the AstraZeneca one because as opposed to Moderna and Pfizer, AstraZeneca actually has a piece of the virus that they put like a protein in your body, whereas the other two like make your body think there was protein in there.
Is that why everyone seems to be feel like? Not everyone, but a lot of people like will get the AstraZeneca and they'll be like, oh, I feel a little bit sick after. Not everyone, but every person's different. Because I know and some people are like freaking out. And I think one of my favorite things someone else said was like, this is really showing me how many of you guys have never got a vaccine before. Because like people are like, did you know my arm is a little tender for a day? And they're like, have you never got a needle?
Yeah, like okay,
Yeah.
this people who have never had a flu shot before are really
Yeah.
outing themselves.
Oh
right now.
yeah, like I'm just like that's every time you get a flu shot, like, and not every time.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you get a flu shot and it's just like boom, and you go on with your day. And other times you're like, oh, my arm's a little sore and I got the sniffles. You know what I mean? And like that's every vaccine, or not every, but definitely. I feel like even with this COVID vaccine, I think the future is it's going to kind of be like our new flu shot. Like they're just going to have to.
Oh yeah, it's like they want a $1 billion, because the flu shot's like $1 billion industry annually.
Yeah, I don't think it's because of money. I think it's because they don't want people to die.
Well, it's yeah,
You
like
get
you
paid.
look at
Oh,
like
Jeremy, that's cute.
also
I
we
know,
got-
I know. I
conspiracy
just
podcast. You
everyone's
should
just
know
like,
better.
oh my god, they're gonna make. I mean, like people make money. It's like
Yeah.
be like the farmer grows wheat because he wants money, and I'm like,
Mhm.
well, I want food, so that's a good trade.
Yeah.
And
I'll
then
give
it's like
money for
Pfizer's
wheat.
like, hey, we'll protect you from this deadly disease, and I'm like, well, this money isn't protecting me from a deadly disease. That's
so
a good
yeah,
trade.
you take the money, and that's
Well put.
we're not
That's
even
just
paying.
capitalism.
We're already paying for it through our taxes. It's not like
It's like thinking like Honda's this great conspiracy to get rich, and you're like, yeah, they are. That's every corporation.
we all
Yeah.
chose capitalism. This is
Someone's like,
this-
oh man, Bill Gates only cares about money, and I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
Like,
Imagine if they're trying to
the
get
end.
poor by giving us the vaccine. That would be a lot worse.
Elon Musk only cares
well,
about
that's
money.
the
Nope.
so there is like now we see coronavirus, like there's fucking mutations and variants or whatever popping up all
Double
over the place.
mutation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're up to triple mutations now in India going on. So
What's after triple? No one's heard. Quadruple it? I don't know.
we gonna quintuple this shit.
Like,
Um,
when does it just become a new COVID strain and they call it like COVID 21?
Yeah, 20. Just give us 21.
Wasn't that yeah, like I think this virus has shown its ability to mutate and adapt under different conditions, and so yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like we're just gonna have to get shots every year, much like the flu. I think
But I don't even get the flu shot every year. I've only in my life I only get it kind of when my kids were younger.
Mhm.
Usually if it's like available, like it's definitely like, you know, kind of like the chocolate bars by the till. Like if I'm at the grocery store and they're like, we're doing flu shots, I'll be like, oh, I'll get a Kit Kat, get some.
Yeah,
Bones
exactly.
Flu
Yes,
shot.
yeah.
And if it's not that easy, I don't do it.
Yeah, I've had it 4 or 5. And it's like, if I'm like, because one time I was in the hospital because I had a leg infection. They're like, oh, we'll give you a flu shot. I'm like, sure. And then the other couple times are like at different places I work. They're like, we have
Yeah.
the flu shot at work. Do you want it? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've gotten it when I'm at
Hoping
work
to get sick
I,
and go home.
and I got it. I used to get it kind of back when my kids were younger, and they'd
Yeah.
recommend, you know, it's a bad year for the flu or something. I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, sure.
I
Oh,
think having kids, like, yeah, like kids are just little
Mhm.
disease vectors all on their own, right? Like it
Yeah.
doesn't fucking matter how
This has
old they
been
are.
the
They're out
greatest
there.
thing about COVID is this is the first year I've gone a calendar year without getting sick. So how,
Yeah, me too, actually.
Explain that, Bill Gates. You know, what
Yeah.
I mean?
Anti-maskers, enjoy your common
Yeah.
cold, which I haven't had.
Yeah, it's like,
Um,
oh, these masks don't work, and I'm like, they fucking work brilliantly. I like this is
Yeah.
the first, like, I still ride SkyTrain. I used to like just be low level sick every
Mhm.
day from
All the
September
time.
until July.
Yeah,
And now I'm like, aside from allergies, never sick.
I
And that's
might just
everyone.
wear a mask outside when I don't have to anymore. Like once COVID's done and I have to, like, if I go on the SkyTrain, I might wear a
Oh,
mask.
I think the mask on the SkyTrain for me is my new future.
Good.
Like, it could be like,
Yeah.
COVID is
That's going to be a
tomorrow.
permanent fix.
And I'm like, have you cured gross people yet? No. Mask stays.
There's no cure for gross people.
Yeah. Like,
I just
and,
wanted
and
to
it's
circle
funny because I
back.
remember
Oh,
back in the day, I'd ride the SkyTrain and there'd be like one person rocking a mask, you know, like or two.
Yeah.
Usually maybe from like a more urban, like mega city, maybe that moved to Vancouver. And I was always like, whoa, you know, Vancouver is healthy. You are crazy. And now I'm like, oh, you were an OG genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to just disrupt the flow and go back to talk about my symptoms, because unlike Derek, I had a couple. Like, it was weird because it was like one of the weirdest headaches I've ever had. It like wasn't like migraine level, but it was like, because usually if I get a headache, it's in the front, like from
Yeah.
welding or whatever. But this one was like in the back, and it was like, I guess it's where your like brainstem meets your skull, and it was like when I laid down on the pillow at night, it kind of hurt. It was weird. It was like my pillow hurt my head. And then I had like fever dreams that night, and then I was a little bit lightheaded. So it wasn't like I got effed by it, but it was worse than the flu shots I've had in the past. I just wanted to say that so we didn't alienate everybody who got their ass kicked by this shot.
Yeah, and I've also even heard from people too that, and some friends I know have got their ass kicked by it, but they were like, holy shit, if that little like micro baby dose kicked my ass, they're like, oh, I don't want to get COVID.
Imagine actual COVID. Yeah.
And they were like, I've known a few people who've had the actual COVID. They're all like, it sucks. If they've gotten symptoms, like, because not everyone gets symptoms. But of my friends that have like had COVID and got sick, they're all like, it sucks.
Yeah. Sorry, I got caught reading the comments. And
then like, Dale, when he welds, you got to wear that little mask. That'll keep you from
I know. Well, sometimes when you're like everybody, like
you're just like so cool. You're just like, I weld, and just sparks are flying in your eyes.
Sometimes if I'm being lazy, I'll tack without my helmet. Like everybody who welds is guilty of this, where it's like you don't want to like you're holding something and you don't want to go put on your helmet. Cause like sometimes when you're wearing your helmet, it just flops down over your face when you're trying. So anyways, I'll just hold it and I'll be
to keep your face safe. Is that why it does it?
Yeah. And then
that's annoying.
You'll get a sunburn.
I remember I worked when I was in college. I worked at a factory that made structural steel, and I was just a kid they hired to like sweep up, and I would grind the welds after. The welder would do their thing, and then I'd go in and clean them up and spray it with primer. But one of my jobs was to drive the welders to the hospital all the time.
Really?
They were always getting beams to the head, and it was like a big structural steel factory, so there was always like these giant cranes like moving like giant steel beams.
Oh yeah.
And everyone that worked there was done, like it was like ticketed welders, and then every job that wasn't like ticketed welder was like ex-con or college kid. Like that's how they hired, right? Like
because they're cheaper.
Oh yeah, like because like I know my wage was subsidized by the government. And then they would get all these guys. Like the number one reason for dudes to miss work was because they had to go to parole or court.
Totally valid reason.
Well, like those dudes that are just like sketching out in between, like, next time they're going to get paid and get high, they'd be driving these cranes of humongous, like the structural steel that builds like a Walmart. And they would just like run it into dudes and then be like, I get paid like Germany to the medical tent. I'm like, oh, who am I driving to the Royal Columbian today?
Jeez Louise.
But anyway, watching dudes weld kind of like, it's like, oh, that reminds me of that.
I mean, on one hand, it's bad and it can kind of scar your retinas, but on the other hand,
the headache. So you get your welding headache and your AstraZeneca headache.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a cheap source of vitamin D because it the ultraviolet radiation from the electrical shock does help your body release vitamin D.
That's smart. Very smart.
Oh, I was at the beginning. I was saying I got a bombshell for you, and Jeremy, you might have lucked out by missing this
right. Oh yeah,
wave of AstraZeneca.
I'm still on my waiting list.
And that's because the 1.5 million of the AstraZeneca's doses that came from the States came from the same factory that effed up
fucked up the Pfizer doses.
15 million of those Johnson & Johnson doses.
Johnson & Johnson, yeah.
That it was a plant in Baltimore.
They probably fixed it, you would think.
Toby it was at the same time. These AstraZeneca's
a little orange food coloring in here to make it cool. Toby, fucking go back to shit.
Yeah, one of the reasons that those Johnson & Johnson's doses got effed up was that when I was talking about how there's the protein in the AstraZeneca that they put in the dose, that got into the Johnson & Johnson's ones and cross-contaminated them, and that's what happened.
Yeah, so apparently they had
emergent.
A report. People were just like walking. People would be like working on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and then they were supposed to like go through like a sanitation process before they went, and they were just like strolling across the factory floor and getting to work on the other vaccines.
A lot of pressure to get them done.
It's funny because it ties right into what Jeremy was talking about with the ex-cons and cheap college students working there, because that's probably the same labor pool that they were
Very same
employing to
as-
do this.
It's affordable.
Yeah, because you don't, it's like they have one doctor who's in charge of everybody, and then they'll have like 1,000 just grunt laborers who like move stuff and do eye droppers.
That was
I
the
don't know how
factory
to-
I was at, was like just a couple dudes who knew what they were doing, and then 1 million minimum wage morons just running around with anyway.
Wage slave.
Spent a lot of time
Yeah.
at the hospital.
Yeah. And then I was reading this article on what happened, and they're saying like they were taking the garbage out and they're just dragging it through the main manufacturing place without disinfecting it. And then the actual factory itself had like paint peeling and stuff on the walls. So like you can't even disinfect some of these areas if you have to. So that's the vaccine me and Derek got. So, and that
We also
I want to get Pfizer because hot people get Pfizer,
Mm,
and then everyone else gets AZ.
yeah, they did really,
Yeah.
they really did a great job with their marketing that only
100%.
featured hot people. Whereas AstraZeneca, it's all like, gross,
Yeah,
overweight
it's gonna be
suburban
me.
people.
I'm gonna get AstraZeneca, and they're gonna be like, "I'll be on the brochure."
mhm.
All right, no one wants that anymore.
Yeah, they're like,
Uh,
even the president of the US who has but doesn't have dementia, and we're not allowed to talk about it. He doesn't even want the Zeneca. So
Yeah, he's like-
he gave it
he's
all to
like-
us.
He's like, "Give me the super serum." He's like, "I watched this show called Falcon. I want that one." He's
Well,
like,
that cured
that
my
is an
memory?
actual conversation that
Yeah,
I
They're like,
believe
President
happened.
Biden, that wasn't a documentary. And he's like, "That's what I want." And now all of a sudden they have to have Johnson and Johnson be like, "Hey man, when you give him the vaccine, can you just call it the super serum?
Yeah, they'll make like a special brand
Can
just
you
for him.
dress up in an Iron Man costume and just
Get
like a
Samuel
kid's Halloween
Jackson to give it to
costume.
him.
kids Halloween costume? Like, "We're
Here you go, President
Iron
Biden.
Man, thank you for your service. I thought you died in Endgame." He's like, "Oh yeah." Marvel timelines, Doctor Strange. He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that makes sense. Give me
This
this
is a
now."
different Earth. There's like
Yeah, it's a-
52 Earths, and this is like
52
3.
Earths.
I got to go adjust my balls. You guys get into the outrage.
Nice.
I'll be right back.
Did we hear it?
Did we hear the chime?
It
didn't hear
didn't
the-
sing. No.
No.
Oh, everybody's
sorry.
gonna be so let down now.
Sorry, guys. I know. I'm sure if they've listened to all 168 episodes of Outrage Factory, I'm sure they've heard it before.
Yeah,
So I'll be right
that'd
back.
be the first time. Oh, Jeremy, what I wanted to talk about was I was talking to you before the podcast, like you were like, because we're going back and forth about what time to start and stuff, and you said, "Can you text me because I'm trying to get away from social media on the weekends."
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that like, sorry?
Oh yeah, I said yeah.
Yeah. So did anything spur that, or were you just like, I kind of want some time off from it?
Yeah, I just I just find it's just like a sea of negativity. You know what I mean? I like social media when it's fun. This is not always fun. So I
Yeah.
find I do go on it on the weekend, but instead of like trying to write jokes or trying to create content, I just kind of read other people's stuff. And I like Instagram. I tend to follow more of my friends on there. So
Yeah.
I'll go on Instagram and I find that's fun, and then I enjoy it. And then
Mhm.
I try to stay off Facebook altogether. And Twitter, I'll just go on and check and just kind of see if the world's burning down. And if it's not, I'm like, cool, then I'll deal with it on Monday.
Yeah. Like I was talking to another friend. It's like just like Twitter lately just seems like it's kind of dying. And because I was talking to a guy, we are just like having a conversation, and he's older. I'm like, yeah, you kind of got to get on TikTok, because as Tinder's dying, that
Tinder.
nobody wants to go to Facebook because everybody's parents are there. So they're kind of
Yeah.
going to TikTok just to like watch the clips from this podcast. But also it's like, it's not the same TikTok that was there when it came out. Like there's like, you could go and just watch people play music. And then like, once your algorithm gets in there, then you're golden. Do you
Yeah.
do the TikTok, Jeremy?
I have one. I go on it for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, I like Twitter fine. I'm just finding maybe with this pandemic too, Twitter in general has just gotten like
Yeah.
angrier, and people are more like, "I'm mad." And back in the day, you'd go on Twitter and people would be like, "I got jokes." So I'm
Mhm.
kind of missing that a little bit. But yeah, during the work week, I'm always on social media, and I just find it's almost just like a fire hydrant of, no, I wouldn't even always say, it's not like any one person is negative or anything. It's just like when you follow a lot of people, you're going to get a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
Right. Like every person has their thing that they're passionate about, which I think is awesome. But if I follow 3,000 people, I'm getting like 3,000 people's like takes on like whatever they're passionately angry about. And then that can like really, I'm just like, I need to think about this and this and this and this. But then I'm like, I can't think about all that stuff. So I'm just opting out.
Yeah. One thing I think might have been doing it is because it's like Twitter's like an older platform. Like it's been around for 12 years, whereas TikTok is new. And Twitter, when it came out, like it used to be like, here's some jokes. And it was more of a like, look what I did. Look what I could do. Like, here's the stuff I made. And now it's just like sour people weighing in with their opinions about stuff. Whereas TikTok might be just alluring because it's still like, look what I could do. Here's a video of me playing guitar and stuff.
Yeah, and and to me, it's just like, I'm not even against it. I'm not against any one person having their takes. Like I just said, it's just it's probably more of a thing on my end where it's like I follow too many people with takes, so I'm just like inundated with takes, and I'm like, okay, I need to like. So I just find on the weekend, like just try to be more chill.
Yeah, what would help was to go back at it like a brand new person, like maybe get a second Twitter and then just start following people. Cause it's like a lot of it's like, I don't know, there's no way to do that.
I go into who I follow all the time, and then I unfollow people. So I have more space. Like I'm trying to like follow people now that are people. I'm trying to follow less like, I don't know, companies or personalities, and more like, like you or like Derek, like people that,
everybody should follow me.
No, for sure. And other people in the city, and like, listeners, I'm trying to follow back people that like anyone that is like a member of the community, I guess, like that posts and likes and retweets and replies, like I'm going to follow that person. And then I'm just like, probably when I started, I followed a lot of just like, maybe famous people or like corporations. And I'm starting to like, every so often I'll go into my Facebook and just unfollow a few of those that I maybe followed in 2009. And I'm like, oh, why do I still follow this like random famous on the internet person,
Yeah. Tennille in the comments she said TikTok has to be the most carefree, entertaining of all of them right now. She said it less word salady than that. But yeah, like she's true. Like I think another thing too with Twitter is everybody's so afraid to actually express their personality, like without filters, because how many people are getting canceled on Twitter now for like 5-year-old tweets, 10-year-old tweets. And it's like TikTok hasn't really gotten to the point where like a famous person is losing movie roles because of some TikToks they had like 2 years ago, because it's kind of like
Twitter's
still
just
too young.
older though too. Like a lot of those people that get in trouble on Twitter are like, when Twitter wasn't a big deal and they might not have had a lot of followers, and then they're like, oh, how do I I guess like how or why people get popular on social media has changed. So people might have like written really just like outrageous or crazy things like in 2010, not really thinking too much about the future. And then, that it kind of comes up to catch them. But, there's
a lot of that outrageous and problematic stuff on TikTok too.
Yeah, for sure. And I, my algorithm is like, mostly other radio people. So it's just funny, goofy stunts. And then my wife's is probably a little bit more dialed in. She has her favorite stuff. So then it's like, she just sends me her favorite one. So I kind of get a curated TikTok. I tend to get the like, I tend to get the A+ stuff, because like my wife will watch like 100 of them and then be like, oh, here's 3 that are like super funny. And like, oh, sweet. I'll watch those 3 that are super funny.
My son, 7-year-old son, recently started posting lip syncing videos to TikTok. So if anyone out there is watching, please go like Noah's videos. I have no idea what his username is, but he's very proud of them, as he should be.
Hey, it's funny that you mentioned your son watches TikTok, Derek, because TikTok is getting sued from a class action lawsuit in the UK for the use of children's data.
Right
that
on,
old
man. Go
data
get some of that
mining
sweet,
thing
sweet
again.
money, Derek.
Yeah.
Can I get in? If so, hold on. What are they doing with the data?
I don't know what
Selling it to
anybody does
Johnson
with the
& Johnson.
data besides maybe that's where these stupid phone calls come from telling me I owe the government money.
No,
yeah, I'm always,
those come from the
everyone's
government.
like, oh, they're using your data. And I was like, okay, to do what? To sell you things. To sell me what? Stuff you want. I'm like, all right. You know?
Yeah, like it's funny because they're like, you hear all this stuff like, oh, Facebook's been giving these people data and Facebook's making all this money off data. And you're like, this is just all advertising stuff. Like, do you guys not remember how we had to watch everything with commercials in it? Like everything used to be like YouTube videos.
And you used to get a shotgun blast of
Yeah.
commercials. It was like,
I got shit I care about now.
yeah, like
that I might
buy a
allegedly
car
buy.
and buy tampons and buy beer and buy, vacation. And I'm like, oh, none of that stuff matters to me. Now they're like, now, Jeremy, here's like an authentic Viking smock. Here's a Dungeons and Dragons book, and I'm like, oh, now you're talking to me about stuff I want.
Speaking my language. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, TikTok.
Mine's hilarious because it's like half of it's the tools I like, and then the other half is like the cartoons I like. So it looks like my computer's run by like a 10-year-old and a 50-year-old at the same time.
welder that loves cartoons.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's always bugged me because people get so upset about the data, and you're like, you're not this upset about the data because you don't actually know what it means.
Well, so here's the thing. Lawyers allege that TikTok takes children's personal information, including phone numbers, videos, exact location, and biometric data.
Okay, that's a little bit more
it's a
scary
little
than targeted
I mean,
ads.
I probably wouldn't. That's not selling kids stuff. That's like, oh, we can help this like random internet predator find exactly where your child is at any given time.
Yeah, no, it's probably crazy stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, the fact that you have kids on social media is just like, that's the way of the world, right? So it's kind of challenging to create a social media network that is, I mean, really, I don't even know how you could create a safe social media network for kids. I just think it's impossible.
Yeah. And even like, so my son's 7, and it's been like talking to him and being like, okay, like if you're playing Roblox or whatever, and anyone asks you, like, you don't tell them what school you go to. You don't tell them where you live. Like all that stuff's off limits. You can have like conversations with people, but it's fucking scary, man. Like there are like kids don't know any better. And I, as an adult, barely know any better. Like I look at the stuff that I've shared online throughout my adult life, and I'm like, well, that is very unsafe, and I would never want my child to do that. But like we still don't really know.
Yeah. Like Twitter used to be us saying, we're like, when Twitter started, it's like, I'm going here in 20 minutes. See y'all there. Like
then you check in when you get there.
Yeah. Exactly. Want to find me, random internet predator?
Yeah,
go for it.
Remember Facebook check-ins? Is that still a thing?
Yeah.
I feel like there used to be a social media platform that was just all about checking in.
There was. It was Foursquare, and you would just like loudly announce where you were in the hopes of like getting the mayorship, like, which basically
collecting
said,
your data. You straight up broadcast it.
Yeah, you're just offering it for free. Like they're not.
I'm at the brew pub. I'm buying this beer. I give it 4 out of 5 IPA stars.
Like that Untapped app, which was basically just a beer focus group where you'd be like, this is the beer I'm drinking right now. This is what I think of it. And it was just like, I mean, apps like that, you're like, yeah, put all the most popular beers around me if I'm drinking all those.
Yeah. So sometimes you think it's, I feel like not that it could necessarily be used for good, but it doesn't necessarily need to be used for evil. But then, of course, with all these things, you got, who knows, like all these companies are just ginormous, like multinationals. It'd be one thing if they were Canadian companies too, and you could at least be like, well, I guess deep down we could control it kind of, but we can't, TikTok is this multinational, Facebook,
I think, do we even know who owns TikTok? Didn't we hear that
Chinese.
It was like, it was the Chinese,
and then I thought it was going to be Microsoft, and then I thought it was going to be like owned by 4 or 5 giant corporate, who knows?
Well, Trump was trying to make it so that TikTok wouldn't work in America unless it had like an American branch, and then that got shut down. So it's still owned by
Someone. Who cares?
So yeah,
Sorry,
somebody owns it.
I'm just looking in this news article to see if it says who owns
I
it.
thought it was
but
like a dude owned it or something.
Yeah.
Just a dude.
No, I thought it was just like Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook. I thought just some guy started TikTok.
Yeah, it's like how Google's owned by Alphabet Entertainment or something. I don't know what the actual parent company of TikTok is. It might even be TikTok.
Who owns TikTok?
There you go. Use the Googles. Get that
All right.
data out there to answer our questions.
Maybe we can do one more story, but I'm gonna have to fly out of here pretty soon because we got to watch the Oscars.
Oh,
yeah,
are
it
the
is Oscars
on
night tonight. Yeah, but does anyone pay attention? I mean, I guess you have
I'm
to.
leaving this podcast to watch it.
That's a very low bar, Jeremy.
Who are you rooting for tonight, Jeremy?
I only watched one movie this year, and it was Promising Young Woman. So if it doesn't win like 7 awards, then this thing's crooked and corrupt. And
is that up for Best Picture? I think that's
for like everything. Yeah,
that's one of the only new movies I watched this year as well.
Yeah, it was so good. And I love Carey Mulligan, so I want her to win. And I want the weird little doctor dude to get Best Supporting. I don't know if he was nominated.
Whatever. A write-in candidate.
Yeah, he's
no
my right.
idea
That's what I
what's
mean.
even
If it doesn't sweep the big
nominated.
5, I'm going to be like, this is corrupt. But then people are going to say, like, why do you think that? And I say, because it's the only one I watch.
Because it's
I tried
rigged.
to watch Nomadland. I don't even know how to do it. They said it's on Disney Plus. I go on there and I'm like, I have Disney Plus. It's not on there. Then they're like, it's on Stars. And I'm like, oh, there's the Stars. So I clicked on that. It's not in there. And I don't know. I thought if I need a premium version of it, I would think Disney would have a little button saying upgrade to premium, but they don't. So I'm like, all right.
Okay. So
do you think people go back to exclusively watching new releases in theaters after COVID's over? Do you think we're going to see a hybrid model where
I think we'll see a hybrid model? I like movie theaters. People like them.
Yeah. It's going to take me a bit, but
maybe Dale doesn't like them.
Dale does not like them.
I'll go to a movie.
Remember
right now
the story I told about the horror story from watching Sonic the Hedgehog in the movie theater, where there was the girl
was the horror story
with
that
the
you
feet
watched
that
Sonic
smelled.
the Hedgehog?
Oh, the movie
You
was
paid
actually
money
really good.
to watch
Okay.
Sonic the Hedgehog in a movie theater? Is that
There
on the
was
sequel?
there was a girl that was in the same row as us, but she was like 8 seats away, and you could smell her blue cheese feet from where I was sitting. Like we were like, what is that horrible smell?
That's
and we
the
look
worst
over
ever.
and there's this girl with her feet on the railing being like this. And I was like, that's just, it was so bad that we got up and we moved and we went down like 4 aisles and we couldn't smell it anymore. But then there was some drunk guy like
What did you go to the
narrating
movie
the whole
Wall-E?
movie the whole time.
it was after he got his AZ shot. He just
got his
popped
AZ
in to watch
shot and he went,
re-release
there's
of
a
Sonic.
little movie, 25 cents a view. I'll go in there. And you're like,
Yeah. And it was like he had already seen Sonic the Hedgehog and he took a date to see Sonic the Hedgehog and he was just announcing what was going to happen right as it was happening. And it was like,
You went to like the worst movie I've ever heard of. Like you,
Yeah, that
there's been
I'll
dummies
defend
that-
Sonic the Hedgehog because I like the character and I've got a little bit of a man crush on James Marsden. I'm going to
as you
admit.
should. He's good.
He's I liked him as Teddy. He's good in The Stand. He's just
he's
always
actually pretty decent.
He's
I'm
always
not,
like such a good pure boy that you can't hate him. Like all his characters, he's like, oh shucks, I'm James Marsden.
Yeah,
I'm
James
the
Marsden.
good guy. If you didn't know, because I'm so nice. And you're like, oh, James Marsden, you could never do wrong.
I feel like he's been a bad guy. Has James Marsden ever been a bad guy, Quo? That we can think of?
I'm looking through. I
He's
don't.
been an Easter bunny.
Maybe a bit in Westworld when he was one of the
Yeah, he
like-
was kind of, I guess
he was like the anti-hero.
Even then, though, he was good. Like he was pure of heart.
Yeah, he
in
was like the
Westworld.
most
Programmed
human
something.
robot ever.
Oh, well, we like James Marsden.
Yeah. James
Marsden, if you're listening to this, we'd love to get you on the
I
podcast.
hope you win an Academy Award.
And we hope-
James Marsden.
for your role in Sonic the Hedgehog. Jeremy, before you
my
pop
wife
off.
said my wife said he's the kind of the not good guy in Hairspray.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh.
Have to check it
James
out.
Marsden. He's not perfect, Dale.
That's
perfect.
okay because I don't like musicals, so I'll probably avoid that one.
No, Hairspray
No
not a
offense to-
musical.
our fans who like musicals.
All right, I'm gonna bounce out of here then, guys, and go and check out some Academy Awards here.
Hey,
All
no
right.
problem.
May all the movies you watched won awards.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
have a
one
good
movie. I
night.
hope it wins Best Picture.
Yeah, I hope it needs to win every one, or is this crooked?
Hey,
You know what?
everybody, go check out Jeremy's podcast. I will put a link in the show notes if you're not watching this while we stream it. But what was the name again?
WFT show, the Waiting for Trivia, because I
Nice.
do it with I used to host a trivia night.
Oh,
So it's me and the co-host,
Ah.
and so we, in the summer we were doing the Facebook kind of like this on Zoom, just going live.
Yeah.
And we did that for a while because we just thought it'd be a few weeks, and then of course, we started rolling through the summer, and we're just like, man, this is a drag. So we stopped, and then me and my bud we're like, okay, let's try to. It's just fun to like you guys do it every week, like just get together and smash some jokes and look at the news.
Shoot the shit.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what me and Justin do. So very similar.
Cool, man.
When that comes back up after this whole podcast after the whole pandemic is done, I'm definitely
What part of town do you live in, Dale? Burnaby?
Burnaby.
Oh yeah, we were at Personas there at the Grand Villa.
Oh, nice. I'll hop in a car for trivia night though.
Absolutely.
I have no problem.
No,
all
it's
about
it. Yeah, it's in Burnaby, and then
Nice.
we were Tuesday nights at the Starlight Casino in New West Queensboro,
Oh, yeah.
and then Wednesday nights we were at the Personas in the Grand Villa there in Burnaby.
Dope. Yeah,
Perfect.
But
hopefully.
it's been off for over a year, so everyone go get your AstraZeneca vaccine.
Go find the
Yeah.
shadiest pharmacy you can, get your
Well,
shot.
I mean, like I have a Monday to Friday job, but my co-host, he's a comic. He's been out of work more or less for like
I mean, at the best of times, stand-up comics are almost out of work people.
No, for sure. I mean, he has a day job too, but he was a working comic. Like he worked, we did our 2 nights a week doing trivia, and then he also then did the weekends. He'd be like Friday, Saturday nights, and so 4 nights a week, he'd be working, and hasn't been for almost a year, pretty much.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Oh, that
think
sucks.
about your local artists, everyone.
Yeah. So enjoy
Buy
your
local.
Oscars tonight, and we'll come see you at your trivia night.
One day.
One
I'll invite
day.
you both.
All
On
right.
Twitter, we'll have a Twitter meetup for all the
Yeah.
ancients, all the AstraZeneca generation that's on
Yeah.
Twitter.
Oh, that's what it's going to talk about. Okay.
Well, you guys keep your show rolling. You just
We
don't have
will.
me.
I got so much more stuff to talk.
We
about.
got opinions that need to be
You guys got
heard.
takes.
Don't
All
worry,
right,
you
thanks-
won't miss
thanks for
anything intelligent.
Thank you for letting me be part of your show.
Hey,
Always,
no
man.
problem, dude.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Dale,
Oh, yeah.
it's
What I was
just
gonna-
us for the first
Dude.
time in.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're
what
still
were you gonna
cutting
say?
each other off.
We are. We are.
Actually, it's funny that he brought up Generation AstraZeneca because I was actually finally thinking, because remember like 3 or 4 years ago when they're like, the group between Generation X and Generation Millennials needs its own name. Well, we got it. It's Generation Zeneca because it's all the youngest Generation Xers and all the oldest millennials, because you could only get the AstraZeneca if you were like in the first 3 years of millennials, like 1981, 82.
Hey, I was born in. Oh yeah,
All right,
80
81, 80,
81.
79 is like the first 3 years of millennials, which is us. And then only the young people would trust or weren't scared off by the blood clot thing to get it. So it's like all the young Generation Xers and all the old millennials. So there's our cusp generation.
We found it. We finally have a name.
Got a good
Generation Blood
sponsor.
Clot.
Got a big pharma sponsor, Generation Blood Clot.
All right, I got time to get through like 1 or 2 more stories before the balls are done.
Okay, before your balls are done, Derek. Do you want to talk about the Oscars? Because I had no idea they were even happening.
I knew they were happening. I'm just like, what is there to say? Like movie releases were very subdued this year.
Yeah.
I don't know that we'll see the apparently they're under fire for being racist again.
That's so 3 years ago.
I mean,
Is it another Oscars So White and then a Mexican director won that year?
Oscars racist? I don't know. I'm Googling it.
Yeah, they got to have Get Out in the running for Best Picture after Oscars So White. I mean, that movie was really good, but it wasn't like Best Picture good. Why are you making the face? Did I?
Well, are we going to say we beat racism because they gave a black
No.
director?
We never beat it, obviously,
Because I think
Oscars is still.
the goal is having proportional representation, right? Not doing
Yeah.
the tokenism thing where you're like, okay,
Mhm.
we're gonna do this one picture and like give this one black guy or one Asian guy an award. I think it's about making sure that the winners have diverse representation.
Yeah.
And it's not just white people, and that the bulk of the nominees are white, which is like a totally valid complaint. Like, I think
I don't think it's because it's racist. I think it's just the hoops you have to jump through to get your movie into the Oscars is basically just throw like super rich people throwing money around at their friends and being like, "Hey, we got this movie in this many theaters and we got it in this many like film festivals." And I don't know, like I've been checked out of the Oscars ever since The Shape of Water won. That was the last straw for me. I'm like, this won Best Picture.
Oh, when Parasite won, that was so dope. That was such a good movie.
It was all right. Like how crazy people said Parasite was. I spent the whole movie waiting for it to get crazy, and I was like, "Oh, this is just a Korean movie. They're all this crazy."
Yeah. Well,
I guess it's just people aren't used to Asian cinema, thriller, sci-fi / horror. Like if you're like me and you watched Parasite and you're like, okay, it got to a level, but I was expecting it to go a lot further. You got to watch like Takashi Miike movies, and those are fucking nuts. Like watch Gozu.
I don't know that those will ever win Academy
No,
Awards.
they can't.
But...
They're already out. They're too bizarre. They're much too bizarre. Like even that movie, The Host, was better than Parasite.
That was same director. That was yeah.
So I guess I was waiting for more because I liked The Host so much, and that did go to the next level where it's like it got to like because Parasite was up here, like I said, and then the host went up to here. So I was expecting Parasite to go up to there, but Parasite was creepy and it was like weird.
I think it was more just like the layers of like all the different like allusions they had to class. It was just a very, very cleverly written and fantastically acted film. So
yeah, it was really good social commentary. I'll give it that.
Okay, so we're not talking about the Oscars because I don't even know who the fuck is.
I'll tell you what's in for Best Picture since we brought up that. And so these are the movies. I've never heard of any of them, but these are the movies up for Best Picture: Sound of Metal, Mank, Minari, Promising Young Woman, The Father.
I watched that one.
Judas, and it's like this. This title was too long for the little one. Judas and the Black Messiah. Just gotta wait for it to reload. The Trial of the Chicago 7. Oh, I've heard of that. Didn't watch it. That came out in 2020. How's that up for an Oscar now? It's on. Oh, actually, one thing I like about the Oscars now is some of their stuff is from Netflix, so you can watch it without having to go to a theater, which is good for us now.
Yeah, I think this year more than any others, it's you're not going to see movies that had like wide releases. You're going to see a lot of streaming services.
Yeah, and the last one is Nomadland. So there's 8 movies in general. Do you want to pick a favorite
out of all of those?
Yeah,
I'll agree with Jeremy, and I will say Promising Young Woman was the only one of those I actually saw. Although Sound of Metal looked dope too. That was the drummer who loses his hearing, like a metal drummer who loses his hearing.
It's just the metal version of It's All Gone Pete Tong.
It's all basically.
Cool. I'm gonna vote for The Trial of the Chicago 7, not because I like it or think it's good, better than any other one, but it's written by Aaron Sorkin and people like his stuff, and it's historical legal drama, and people fucking eat that shit right up. But I heard a little bit about that movie, and I think it's not entirely historically accurate. So What do you think of that?
What, the Chicago 7?
Yeah.
I'm not qualified to speak to it, so I am not having not seen the movie or being that familiar with the story.
Okay. Ooh.
Right.
Here's something I wanted to ask you about specifically because you watch trash reality television.
I do.
And I don't. Did you see I posted, I don't know if you watched this, but Colton Underwood was supposed to get a Netflix series, but it might be like he was supposed to get a Netflix series on him like just living the life of a gay person. Oh, it feels awkward saying that, but that's what the storyline of the show was. But the internet milkshake ducked him because apparently he was a creepy stalker for his ex-wife, and he's from The Bachelor. That's why I was thinking you would know who.
Wait, he's gay, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what the show's going to be about, him being gay.
Okay, so he recently came out as gay, but he got milkshake ducked for being shitty to his ex-wife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and he was an NFL player. Like, this guy's fucking done it all. Like, it sucks because if you have a guy who is an NFL player and then comes out as gay, that's like a pretty good role model for a lot of like athletes who are.
I mean, he was never
struggling with their gayness.
Full-on NFL player. He got signed to the practice squad. Like, he never played a game in the NFL.
Oh, he didn't?
No.
I'm just going. That's another thing I don't watch. It just says in the story NFL player. So I was like, oh, he played in the NFL.
No, he played he was on the practice squad for a couple teams, but he never played a game.
Okay, as of April,
so still got that glass ceiling to break. Gay NFL players.
I mean, wait, wasn't there an actual guy who played in the NFL and was a homosexual, or was that just another thing where it was like he got drafted but he never played?
I think there was a guy who came out after openly gay NFL players. What do we got?
Okay, while you're looking up that, this online petition exceeded over 25,000 to get his upcoming Netflix show canceled. Okay, here, an online petition exceeding 25,000 signatures urges Netflix to cancel its rumored reality series starring Colton Underwood, former Bachelor star and NFL player. Last week, during an interview with Good Morning America, Underwood shocked the world by coming out as gay, following his drama with ex-girlfriend Cassie Randolph. Oh, so he's like very newly gay.
Yeah, this just happened. And sorry, he came out as gay in response to the drama with his ex?
No, it says he came out as gay following his drama with his ex-girlfriend. Oh, no, wait. He came out as gay, following his drama with his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Randolph. So I don't know what is this? This is what's trending.com. And they kind of word it like you're saying, like he came out as gay in response to that. But
yeah, like, was it like, oh, he got called out for being toxic and shitty, and he was like, to distract from all of that, he was like, I'm gay? Or was it like, is kind of how that reads to me.
Yeah. And also it's like, at first you're like, is this performative like homosexuality? Because he was on The Bachelor, and the girlfriend that he was like stalking and sending like aggressive text to, he met on that show. And I thought they were married, but they weren't. So it's like, did he get a taste of being famous and now he's just like trying to work a new angle? Like,
Tennille's explaining in the comments, she's saying she had a restraining order against him, but she's since revoked it and they are friends again. And the reason he was in a dark place with his girlfriend because he was struggling with coming out. Even then, if you're, that doesn't justify it.
Yeah, no, that's not carte blanche to be a stalker and treat anybody like shit. Like, that's just, and it sucks because, like I said, this was a good. This might have been good to have like a positive homosexual role model for all these kids that are struggling with it. But now he just looks like some terrible person who is addicted to being famous.
I mean, there's lots of positive homosexual role models out there already that have
I
emerged
meant
over
more
the past
for like professional
20
sports.
years. He wasn't an athlete, Dale. He barely. I could make the practice squad for an NFL team right now.
Could you though?
No,
Derek?
that's not true.
I mean, oh wait, you Googled openly gay people in the NFL. Did you find any?
Not any that have actually done anything meaningful, I don't think.
Do you think the NFL might be holding these people back? Like not this guy because he didn't come out till like 2 weeks ago. But do you think that if, like, I would say that if you come out as openly gay, it's going to be a little bit harder to make it into the NFL.
Yeah, like I don't think I have zero doubts that there are gay NFL players, but I don't think they are super out about it.
Yeah, it's funny because in the day and age we live in where we're constantly trying to get rid of all bad behavior and all this stuff and cancel people for doing and saying bad stuff, that there's still such like a stigma on, like, it's almost like old news. Like it's like at this point it's like if someone's gay you're like, yeah, whatever, like that doesn't affect me at all. But it's still like in major sports leagues like the NFL and even Hollywood where I don't know, is it problematic to say like you'd expect more people in Hollywood to be homosexuals because it's like an artist
Tons of people in
thing?
Hollywood are homosexuals.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like,
Because that's like they know that like the artistic crowd is going to skew towards that. But I think your
Mhm.
average like NFL super fan, and maybe this is me generalizing, but like people who are like
you're
big
very
on
correct.
like fuck yeah sports, there probably is still a lot of rampant homophobia. Like you look at the outcry in response to Black Lives Matter protests in the NFL, and that
Yes.
like there is a strong conservative bent who do
That's like
not want.
the like lightest way to say it. I'm gonna just to come out and say it. I'd say of all major leagues, I think that the NFL has the highest quotient of toxic masculinity in its fan base.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to get into some of the big four. That's
Yeah.
a nice caveat.
I would
to
say
get out
I
of,
would
like,
even say
four.
like NFL out of all organized or professional sports is like
Mhm.
NFL and NASCAR in the United States are like probably 1 and 2, and then every other professional sports league is below that. But yeah.
I'm not going to say NASCAR because I
They're
know it's a
sponsors?
sport and they are athletes because they drive for like all day, but it's like there's only like one NFL team's worth of athletes in NASCAR, and that's all of the performers, right?
Yeah. And
Like-
the cars are the real athletes. If we're going to talk about like, sorry, they're the ones doing
Yeah.
the work, drivers.
The mechanics are the people who should be getting all the accolades. I mean, it's got to be hard to drive. Oh, you know what you should do? This is just me saying I watched that new Kevin James show about a NASCAR team and it was funny. But I fully understand that everybody doesn't like Kevin James as much as I do. Like people are like, you should watch Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 as punishment. I'm like, I love that movie. What are you talking about? I don't know if it's because I have the same body type as Kevin James.
I think that's exactly
Like,
what it is.
If you put us side by side, our silhouettes are identical. So I just have this like emotional attachment to his movies and his TV shows. But I also think he's pretty funny as well. Like, have you seen Paul Blart Mall Cop?
No. Why would I willingly subject myself to a Kevin James movie ever?
Because it's funny. But anyways, there's this part where he's like eating pie or something and he's putting peanut butter on. He's like, there you go into the cracks of all my feelings. And he just says something really funny. Like he's like, it's funny because his like humor it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's nuanced and self-aware of the problems that he's doing with his food, like his eating habits to self-medicate his emotional problems. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's funny because he's always talking about how he like eats all this junk food, like in all his movies and stuff, but it's also very self-aware of why that's problematic.
Well, we've reached the point of the podcast where Dale is analyzing the Kevin James comedy. I think that means it's time to wrap it up.
All right, fine.
I did want to say one more thing. The Derek Chauvin verdict came down
Oh, yeah.
last week.
That's like the most important thing that happened if we haven't even talked
It
about
was.
it.
I want to say that like a lot of people were celebrating it and acting like this represents some kind of true progress towards race relations and police brutality in the United States, and it is neither of those things. So everyone just slow your fucking roll on that.
I'm seeing a lot of stuff that's like, this is actually kind of problematic in a roundabout way, because it's like a lot of people are like, oh, Chauvin got found guilty, so we've made a difference. We're there. Where it's like, no, people are still like, unarmed black people are still getting shot by the police and all this like racial problems.
And fucking
like, at the
next
exact
time,
yeah.
Now that the expectation's been set there, I think the next time a cop gets off scot-free for shooting an unarmed black person, it's gonna hit twice as hard. And yeah, there are still tons of fucking like the bar has been set for a cop kneeling on a unarmed non-violent offender's throat for 9 minutes and having the whole thing fucking videotaped. That's what you have to do to get a conviction. Yeah, and we've seen shit even over the past few days where it's like, oh, an unarmed black man was shot because he was holding a cell phone and the cop thought it was a gun. And it's like, people are going to hear that story and they're going to be like, okay, well, I see how they would believe that because he was holding something in his hands. Fucking like George Floyd was like on the ground, nothing in his hands, cop kneeling on his neck, guys begging for his life. That should not be the bar that we have to get a fucking conviction. But that's where it is. And that to me, that doesn't represent progress. There's still so much fucking work that has to be done. And I think, you know, a lot of people are just like, sure, let's appreciate that this is like a fucking baby step towards progress, but it's not. A lot of people are acting like this means that like, oh, cops better be on fucking notice that like they can't just kill unarmed black people anymore. And it's like, no, like I don't think cops are on notice of that at all, because they still are at a incredibly alarming rate, and none of them really ever face any sanctions or punishment for it at all. So
yeah, I don't want to step on your valid points, so I guess we can just end it there.
All right, cool. Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming out to this episode of Outrage Factory. I've been your co-host, Derek Boland. You can follow me on Twitter at Herder.
I'm Dale DeRuiter. You can follow me on Twitter at SuperDaleBot.
You can follow us on Twitter and or Facebook and or YouTube at Outragefactorypod, I think.
Yeah, Outragefactorypod. Gmail, Outragefactorypod at Gmail. Facebook, if you're watching this on stream, you already know where to find us. If you're listening to this on audio or watching this on YouTube later, it's facebook.com/OutrageFactPod. I think our Patreon is not really up and going right now. I think it's because...
Do I got to set it back up again?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh, did you set it up? I don't know. It's because I think it's like Patreon's all super greedy, and if nobody gives you money, they just like, they're like, well, these guys aren't fucking elite status, so they don't get to have a Patreon account.
Yeah.
So you guys should definitely go and give us money on Patreon so they stop taking it down on us. Or do you think
no,
we
you're
got
right.
canceled?
Nobody's given us money. We noticed it's been a while since your creator page's last payment activity. For security reasons, your page has been unlaunched. Hey, if you would like us to continue making money at this podcast, please head on over to patreon.com/OutrageFactPod, I think, and toss us a few dollars there.
I don't even know if you could get to it.
I mean, you can't right now. Edit and relaunch your page at any time. I'm going to do that. Donate us some money. Rate, review, and subscribe. Tell your friends about the podcast. And until...
oh, wait. One last thing. I have made new designs in the Redbubble account. I figured out how to make cutout designs. I mean, you could get stickers. Ooh, I was going to... Here we go. I got new stickers going.
He's got them.
So basically, the new design is they're cutout stickers. So once you take them off the pad, then they don't have... So there's that design.
You can also get
Why? It's fuzzing out.
It's fun.
Your
It's
background is
blurred.
fuzzing it out. Yeah. You could get that mug and you could get these stickers, which are the tiger logo. And if I shake it, you can't see it. So I don't know why I did that. So I will put a link to go to the Redbubble so you can get some swag.
Please
you can
do.
also get those designs on masks or t-shirts or mugs or a bed sheet if you're feeling
If
like
you're really feeling, if you want Dale and I caressing you in bed every night when you lay your head down to sleep,
Hey.
buy a bed sheet.
All right. Oh, Tennille Jackson says she's waiting for Cameo. And I would definitely do that, but I feel like it would hurt my feelings if nobody signed up to give us a cameo.
If you would like Dale and I to send you anniversary, birthday, whatever fucking wishes, give us $5. We'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should set up a cameo.
Yeah. Next
Yeah.
up.
Nice.
All right.
Tennille
next
Jackson,
week-
I'm setting it up, so you better
God damn it.
effing get us to say hi to somebody for money.
Tennille, you know us personally, and you can just reach out to us and say, hey, record a message that says this, and we'll do it for free, probably.
And make sure you send us a cameo for somebody who's okay with swearing and bad jokes, because we'll probably let some slip. Yeah.
Until next week.
Stay angry.